And we're back. Welcome to another episode of the Spotlight Series presented by the Mayor's Office of Black Male Engagement. Spotlight Series is a series where we highlight the great contributions of Black and brown men in the city of Philadelphia. We're here today with a guest who really needs no introduction in many circles, whether you're talking about from grassroots organizations to grass top organizations, corporate America, professional, anywhere in this particular city and beyond, this brother is known. So we want to give a warm welcome to Mr. Gabriel Bryant, who's going to tell us a little bit about himself, talk about what he does with his program, EMOC, and also give us some words of inspiration before you leave.
Sure.
So, Gabe, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and talking about your program.
Sure. Well, thank you very much for having me here, Jack. My name is Gabriel Bryant again. I'm the coordinator for an initiative called EMOC, or Engaging Males of Color, through the Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services, DBHIDS. Really, the goal and mission of EMOC is to promote mental wellness for men and boys of color. We recognize that men and boys of color, those who are African American, Latino, Asian, other identities as well, are oftentimes at the bottom, when it comes to being able to access care, access health care, know what it means to really be aware of their wellness. And so we want to be able to act as an incubator to figure out ways to look at how we can dispel stigma, reduce stigma, increase access to services, and as well, how do we figure out ways so that men and boys can achieve their maximum wellness? And that we do through a variety of strategies and tactics that are community engaged strategies that can bring in different stakeholders and partners to figure out, what are the best needs that men have, with regards to combating their challenges of stress, depression, certainly mass incarceration as well.
Mm-hmm. How do you go about engaging this population in particular? We talked about, some of the deficits that this particular demographic may have, men and boys of color. How do you go about engaging? What's your personal sort of way of engaging?
Well, I think one of the first things is to recognize that this is a very marginalized community, right? In many ways, their culture, our culture as men and boys, has been defined by stereotype, frankly. And so one of the things that we want to do, first of all, is create safe spaces for them to share, right? I think oftentimes they've been conditioned to not have their voice articulated in a way or fashion that meets their needs and meets their interests. And so we want to come to where they are. We're not necessarily saying come to us. We often go to where men and boys of color congregate, playgrounds, parks, or bringing in spaces or providing spaces where men and boys can kind of see themselves in a panelist, in a town hall forum, in a conversation, in a dialogue, so that we can have those courageous conversations in a safe space and in a safe environment. One of the other strategies that we do is our partnerships. I think it's very important to not always say, hey, here's Gabe coming to an event, but here's Mr. Johnson who's on your block in your neighborhood who you trust, right? And so because Mr. Johnson's co-signed, now we can all kind of come to the table together and kind of build as brothers.
Absolutely. 10, 15, 20 years from now, looking at this demographic, what are some of the things that you foresee happening?
I see a number of things happening. One of the things that I would like to see, down the line, obviously, is more men and boys who feel like they have an opportunity to attain a higher level of education. For too long, we've seen the numbers and the statistics stating that 50% of our black boys are not, graduated from high school, not finishing college, and going on to not even lead the best potential of their lives. And so what I want to see is a higher degree of our young men, finishing school and being able to take those talents and gifts, out into the world, right, where they can explore and be the best of themselves. Also, but more importantly, what I want to see is just men and boys who can just live freely. And what I mean by that is there's been really a prescribed notion of what a black man should be, of what a man of color should be. And I want them to be able to dream. Right? I want them to be able to dream and see their full dreams realized in a manner that's really safe for them, safe for their families, safe for the community, but also empowers themselves to kind of lead our communities even further, because we know that we're still dealing with a lot of challenges in the community as black people, people of color.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for all of this information, Gabe. And also, I just wanted to ask you, what are some words of advice that you would have for folks who are watching, folks who are listening, especially in our demographic, men and boys of color? What are some maybe 2 or 3 things that you would say to folks?
One thing is always to keep mindful of your health and wellness. A lot of the work that we do with EMOC is around self-reflection, introspection. Oftentimes we always say, you know, don't preach to the choir, but I always say the choir needs some preaching too sometimes. And so even those who are practitioners, who are in the work, you know, we always deal with burnout, with being jaded, being discouraged. But we have to find those still moments, right, where we're either by ourselves or with loved ones, right? Find that space that works for you to continue to do the work that we all need to do as people. And then secondarily, I would just say, you know, find a good community of folks around you that can work with you. You know, really find a great team, a great support system. I think that the social network is important, not only on social media, but just, you know, your circle, right? Absolutely. Those who you can build with, grab a meal with, and kind of bounce ideas off of. I know that you've served in that capacity for me in many opportunities and occasions, and I think it's important to have that kind of like-mindedness kind of share out. Absolutely. And I think that we'll all get to a better place.
Perfect. Gabe, this has been great. So sad it's short-lived. But, you know, thank you so much for the contribution that you bring, the work that you do, and the person that you are. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's keep pushing the envelope.
All right, good brother.
Thank you.
Please join us again for another Spotlight series in the very near future.